Let me know when you're ready.
We're live.
We're live.
All right. Welcome, everyone. It's August 18th, 11:03. I'll call the Fire District 21 Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, roll call. I'm Bruce Ansell.
Scott Fisher.
Tom Crawford.
Kimberly McMurray.
Jason Vanderveen.
Chief is joining us from far away.
Sean.
All right, so we have a couple of presentations to make today. We have a couple of former commissioners that are here with us. And actually, if Rich, if you'd like to come up and help us with Larry's presentation. Sure. Yeah. Larry McPhail was a commissioner here for about 10.5 years, and once he felt that things were on the straight and narrow and we got our stuff together, he decided to go play with tractors and do fun stuff. So more full time. But Rich, you probably know him best out of those of us that are here on the board and worked with him the longest. So
I think Larry started in 2010 in January and went until July of 2021, I believe. That's right. 10.5 years, if I did my math right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, when you came on the board, we were really in dire need of somebody that was steady and someone that had common sense and was just a stable member of the board. And you really fit that bill. You have this temperament. I don't think I've ever seen you angry. And I see you smile a lot. I don't think I've ever seen you mad, at least not on the board. And I don't know what happens at home, but on the board, you always were steady and even keel. And there was a time where we had a lot of really important issues come up. And some of them were issues of monetary, and some of them were just strictly personnel issues. But there was a lot of instances where there were 2-1 and 3-2 votes that saved this district. And I could always count on Larry being one of the common sense votes. And there were a lot of 3-2s that could have been 2-3 if you hadn't been here, and none of us would be here. That's how important your role was on the board. So I just have a lot of gratitude to you for sticking with us through that and staying the course. And you were a very important part of the history of this board. So thank you very much.
Larry, come on up. Just a small token of our appreciation. This is for your service from 2010 to 2020. And maybe you can find a place on the board.
I will.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
You bet. Rich Bosman. Oh, you're here. Okay, good. So, Rich put over 20 years in here, which is crazy long time. Started with the Blaine Fire Department, and then that eventually merged 3 and 13 together. Make sure I got my numbers right here. And names were changed, and it ultimately became North Whatcom Fire and Rescue. I think it was Fire District 21 before that. And he endured, like Larry, a group of individuals that were part of this board that maybe had other ideas and agendas rather than what was best, in my opinion, for the public and the fire service in general. So he stood up to one individual in particular, who I won't name, who really made all of our lives very difficult, and maintained his professionalism and demeanor, and ran the board here very professionally. And then only made one mistake in his time here, and that's he recruited me in 2016 to be part of the board. But anyway, Rich is just a super guy. I couldn't ask for a better mentor in this position, in my position now as chair. I will miss you dearly. I still have your phone number. I will call you regularly. But I know that you have other fun things planned. You're heading to Spain here in September to go hang out and do some things on your bucket list. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, come on up. We have just a small token for you as well to remember us by, but thank you for everything. Oh, picture. And it's nice that we're through COVID, so we can actually touch people and shake their hands and say congratulations. So I don't know if anyone else has anything they'd like to add or say, Chief, if you have any comments. I know that you sent a nice letter and stuff, but
I would just like to echo the both of those commissioners, both of you gentlemen brought us through some rough times. I remember being on the line at the time and just shaking my head at the soap opera that the commissioner meetings have become. So thank you for your steadfast leadership. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your integrity. Always speaking the truth. I, as an employee and now as the fire chief, I cannot thank you, both of you gentlemen and your families, enough for your service to the community, for your service to the district, for your service to our employees. It's just, you guys have both been an incredible example of public service. Both of you served in public safety as for your working careers, and then dedicated far too much of your time in your retirement to the board. But I thank you for your service, and I humbly hope I can follow your example as I get older. So thank you both.
Boy, it's going to be hard to follow that up. I got to work with both Larry and Rich, and I want to just say thank you both. I really appreciated all your help, your hard work. Thank you.
all right. Anyone else? We'll open it up. Okay. So we have an opportunity to just take a little break here. There's some cookies and water and coffee. I think coffee. No, I see coffee cups. Maybe we don't.
We do.
Okay. All right. Sorry. So we're gonna take a little recess here. It's 11:02, 3, 12. Thank you.
11:30.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And we will resume at 11:30, and that is going to be that'll take off with a phone call to our attorney. So for those of you who don't want to sit through all that, you got till 11:30 to chit chat and thank our retired Board of Commissioners members for their service. So let's take a break. All right, 11:30, we'll reconvene, and our next item on the agenda is a discussion with our attorney, which he is on the road as well. And I think we're going to end up doing a phone conference with him. I don't see him popping up on Zoom. He said that his Wi-Fi and would not be very good. He's taking his son off to college today as well. So it's that time of year. And just for the record, the topic of most of this is the waiver of attorney-client privilege and attorney work product regarding an investigation that the department conducted. So he is going to enlighten us on what that process is and where we are and why we have to do what we are doing based on the labor group moving their grievance to the step 2 process, which comes before the board for our determination of what to do. So anyway, we can get Mr. Davis on the line.
Sounds like he's busy.
Want me to call on my cell phone?
Well, the Wi-Fi is off on this one. I missed.
Yes, no? I can just call him on my cell phone.
You can, and we can always switch too. So
All right, so I'll just call him on my cell phone. Richard, this is,
Hold on a second.
all right.
Okay, there you go. I think I'm on.
Okay, so I have you on my cell phone on speakerphone because we're having some other phone issues. So hopefully people can hear well enough. But if anyone needs me to repeat anything, just raise your hand and I will do so.
Okay.
So we are in our regular meeting, and the topic being the waiver of attorney-client privilege and attorney work product regarding investigative materials. We're hoping that you would help us, the board, understand what this means and kind of walk us through that.
Okay, so I'll just say that as a preface to this, I'm not going to be mentioning individuals' names during this since we were in a session, but I did want to kind of give you a little bit of the background and just kind of set the stage. So there was a workplace misconduct complaint that was received, and as is typical when we have a situation like that, the chief contacts us and if appropriate, would be initiate an investigation, which is what we did here. And it's typical for us to engage an outside investigator for a couple of reasons. One is, we like to keep our firm separate from the investigation. Two, it's usually more effective to have an outside investigator rather than internal staff do those investigations. And the product that we get is fresh look for somebody who's associated with the district. And so we did that here. We hired an outside investigator from Seattle, and we got a report. And so the report tells us kind of the factual information that was found and whether there were any policies that were violated. And so after receiving that, the chief made a decision on discipline and went ahead and administered discipline. And then the union elected to go ahead and grieve that discipline as they're entitled to under the collective bargaining agreement. A grievance basically is an assertion that the district didn't follow the collective bargaining agreement in some way. Right after filing the grievance, the union also made what's called an information request. So the public employment collective bargaining statute allows unions to get information from the employer to fulfill their bargaining obligations. And that includes, when someone is being disciplined, they can make information requests about materials that are relevant to that. And so they did that. And their ability to get information is a little bit broader than the public. There's two avenues for a union. They could make a public records request, or they could make an information request. Here they made an information request. And so part of what they wanted was they wanted to know who were the witnesses. And we provided a list of witnesses that the investigator had talked to. They also wanted a copy of the investigative report and some previous investigative reports. And our position is that those reports are part of the attorney-client privilege and also covered by attorney work product. And so the attorney work product is basically when we gather facts and information, or we have third parties do that for us, it's covered by a separate privilege from the attorney-client privilege. And we believe both privileges apply, and we have some cases to that effect. But the union, through their legal counsel, has indicated a disagreement, which is not uncommon. This is why we have lawyers and their disagreements about things. And so we've written back and forth with the union's attorney. I remain convinced in the position that we've taken that this is covered by the privilege. Having said that, there is an opportunity to waive that privilege here so that the union can get the information they want as they are looking further into this grievance. And my view is at this point that I don't see a huge downside in releasing this information to the union. The one thing I would tell you is, and I've mentioned this to the union's attorney who's fully aware, is once it's waived, once these privileges are waived as to anybody, they're waived as to everybody. And so if we were to get a public records request, we could not assert the privilege, which is what we could typically do if we received a public records request. But the union has been fairly adamant about getting this information, and in my view, it could create somewhat of a sideshow to the fundamental thing that's going on, which is the discipline and the union's challenge of that through the grievance process. And so it's my recommendation that the commission waive those privileges for the current report and the other reports that they have requested. And we have gone through those reports. We've redacted certain information, conclusions made, and the thought processes of the investigator. So what you have left essentially is the factual information. And the union has said, we'll be fine with that. And so in order to just kind of move along and get beyond this hurdle, it's my recommendation that the privilege be waived. And so I'll pause with that and see if there are any questions.
Does the board understand what's going on here? Questions, comments? So I've been involved a little bit. I know, Chief, you may want to weigh in here. I think one of the biggest concerns I have as a board member is protecting those members that came forward and testified or talked to the investigator. And, we tried to keep this thing under as little visibility for the general public or the general membership so that the investigation would run its course and these people would feel comfortable coming forward. Now, what I understand is this potentially may open their statements up for review if someone were to have a public records request. Is that correct?
So, and that's always been a concern of ours as well, because when you do these investigations, you want to maintain confidentiality as much as possible. But as I said earlier, we have provided the names of those who cooperated to the union already. So the union has that. The question is, would their names be released to the public? The Public Records Act actually has a provision that says when you get a records request like that, you are obligated to talk to the witnesses who participated in the investigation, and if they don't want their name disclosed, then you need to redact it. So insofar as kind of further disclosure, that wouldn't happen. And so I don't think there's any further harm in that regard. And, the district does take affirmative steps, as I'm sure the chief can speak to more cogently than I can, as to ensuring that there's never any retaliation or any repercussions for those who did participate. We want to encourage that. And so the district, does take steps to make sure that they are protected, those folks who did cooperate.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns?
Not this time.
Chief, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Excuse me. I would like the board to know that no actions that I've taken up to this point, as far as this grievance goes, or as far as the process goes, have been to block the union in any way. Frankly, they're in the CBA. Any request for information is supposed to come prior to the imposition of discipline, and they didn't ask for any information until after discipline had been distributed or handed out, as well as I did give them an extra week or an extra 5 business days to work on whether they were going to grieve or not grieve, essentially give their attorney more time to work through this process. So I just want you to know that I'm not I'm not doing this for fun. I didn't do anything to block this up. It was simply out of a want to protect our employees. I'm just afraid that by releasing it, and I understand what Mr. Davis is saying with, we can redact names if it were to go to a public, a public records disclosure. But I'm afraid that this is could potentially cause people to not want to come forward in the future if they know that really not everything they say in confidence is actually going to be kept in confidence. Then the other piece that I would like to speak to is the retaliation piece. When the union originally asked for these documents, we did send out a letter to everybody that was listed in the who had been interviewed. Several of the emails that we sent out had names in them. We sent out a letter to everybody stating that, letting them know that their name was tied to a document that had been requested in this case, and that they would be, that the district will work to protect anyone from retaliation. And I want to be open and honest and say that goes for anybody. If someone who's disciplined is being retaliated against, whether by me or by a member of the district, there's remedies for taking care of that. As a matter of fact, the person that is in a case where someone's disciplined, they're instructed to come to you if I am retaliating or treating them unfairly in any way. So we try to cover everybody and let them know that they are protected from retaliation to the best of our ability if they let us know something's going on.
All right, fair enough. So again, I think the chief, and at least myself as a board member, we're trying to do everything possible to not have this information be released other than to those people that need to make those decisions. And it's labor's desire to have us open this up and look at it more thoroughly. So I just kind of want to clarify how we got to this point. Mr. Davis, anything else that you might want to conclude with here?
No, I think the chief did a good job of kind of explaining some of the things that I I think should have been covered before the commission makes its own decision. The other thing I might just say is, it is common when there's discipline that's issued for the union to conduct its own investigation, and not to rely upon ours, because ours is for our information. That we get an investigation, so we have all the information available for the fire chief to make an informed decision. It's not really for the benefit of anybody else. And I don't know if the union has done their own investigation in this case, or if they plan to do one or not. But again, we are where we are, and there has been a potential threat of, I think, kind of implied of maybe filing an unfair labor practice for not providing this information. I think that in this case, it's probably best to avoid all of the stuff that could go on as a sideshow, and just have if the commission is willing, have the privilege waived, so that the union could get the information in this case, and we could just focus on the underlying merits of the actions that have been taken.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board? So we need, we need to discuss if we want to do this, and then if so, then there would be a motion for a waiver of attorney-client privilege and attorney work product regarding
Correct.
these particular investigative materials.
That's right.
All right. So, do you have anything else to add? I'll let you go. I know you're on your way to college here, so.
Nope, that's all I have.
Okay, I appreciate you taking the time, and if we run into any more stumbling blocks, I'll call you back.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, bye.
All right, so I suppose I will entertain a motion, and then we can have a discussion and then a vote. So, is there a motion for the board to waive the attorney-client privilege and attorney work product regarding the current request by labor for our investigative materials?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so moved and seconded, and I would ask for your discussion, please. Whoever wants to go first. You've heard my opinion, so.
Can we ask questions of the union while they're
I'm not sure I want to get down that path. I think
I have one question.
well, throw it out. Maybe I can answer it for you.
Does the union plan on doing their own investigative work in the future?
We have been doing investigative work, yes. Part of our attorney's answer is that if this goes to arbitration, the first information that's gathered is what is usually relied upon, and that's what the chief used to make his decision on the discipline. So that's kind of what we want to see, what was gathered upon.
Anyway, I've had discussions with our attorney and chief over concurrent investigations. I know that in my former life, we had issues like this that came up where an investigation that could result in either a demotion or termination occurred, and the union was involved in the interview process right from the get-go, and so there wasn't this, you did yours, we did ours, you got a different story than we got, and then we came back together and fought some more. So there are pros and cons for doing it that way, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I think if you were to interview someone by an outside investigator and then later go back and interview that person by perhaps a labor leader or even the fire chief or someone else, there's a tendency to get slightly different stories every time you talk to somebody because they either thought about their answer and they changed something or they left something out or whatever. So there's no perfect world here. I'm hoping that by releasing this information, they'll see it. They'll see that the chief made the right decision based on the information that was collected. And again, this was not an internal investigation. We did not conduct this investigation. Nobody on this board did it. The chief didn't do it. Nobody in our admin staff did it. This was a paid outside professional that did this and made a recommendation, and the chief followed through. So I just want to clarify that we tried to be as non-partial as possible in this process. Kimberly. Sorry.
It's a hard place. But my vote is that we protect our other firefighters and that I read every document and the theme throughout was retaliation. And we need to protect.
Okay.
And that we need to be a safe place for people to talk when there are issues and problems.
So do you feel that after what Mr. Davis told us that if an individual's personal name or information would be released, that they would have the option to have that redacted prior to the release, i.e. someone makes a public record request, we then go to the person that is on that, they say, no, I don't want my name released, they redact that, and then it gets released. Is that sufficient for you? I think what we're trying to do here is satisfy the union's request for understanding how and why we came to the decision, but also protecting our members from, having stepped up and came forward and talked about what happened. So, anyway. Scott, you got anything to add?
No, I think we need to be as open as possible and allow them to get the information they're requesting, but also have the right to redact the names.
All right. Anything else from you, sir?
No, I'm on the same page, I just hope those members understand that they can have their names redacted, whether it be the union advising them of that or us advising them of that, if it does go public.
All right. So there's a motion. It's been seconded. It's been discussed. I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion to waive the attorney-client privilege and work product?
Aye.
Let's do a roll call vote then. Fisher votes yes.
Yes. Aye.
Aye.
Kimberly votes no, and I'll vote yes. So that passes 3-1. All right, thank you. Hopefully we don't have to do this again. But anyway, we'll move on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Nobody signed up. We have a quick volunteer pension board meeting to open up. So I'll go ahead and open that meeting at 11:54. We have approval of the July 19th minutes. Is there a motion for that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Then Chief, we have volunteer separation, 2 members.
Yes, sir. Brian Botapillo after 12 years of service and Shane Madsen after three and a half. And both of these members are being separated because they're not adhering to the Board of Volunteer Firefighters requirements for training. And therefore they are not able to be part of their pension system.
Okay, so we are separating them for non-participation.
Correct.
Okay, and you need a motion for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to separate Brian Botapillo and Shane Madsen?
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Anything else for the pension board, chief?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close that meeting 11:55 and then open the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to adjust the agenda since we do have a guest here today under new business, and don't want to keep him any longer than we absolutely have to. So Mr. Vincent Buys is here to talk about Comcast grant partnership.
Well, thank you, Chief and Commissioners. My name is Vincent Buys with Comcast Government Affairs. Want to talk a little bit about a grant partnership opportunity that exists for Whatcom County to get broadband services out. A state broadband office is expected to release a grant opportunity either the end of October or November that then will be awarded first quarter next year. There's about $130 million that are available specifically for broadband deployment and build out. I've mapped out the area, I call it the North Custer project area. It's essentially the bounds outside of Comcast's footprint in Blaine, Ferndale, Linden areas. And you've got a map in front of you that kind of shows what we would need to build in order to complete that area to provide broadband services to everyone in that area. The cost on that is obviously way higher than what we're able to take on as a business case and actually turn a profit on that. And so we are needing to go to the state broadband office in order to apply for grant funds in order to serve these customers out here. I've identified about 1,283, so almost 1,300 homes that would be served by this project, and for a total cost of approximately $18 million for the whole project. What we are looking to do is we would build 2 every home in this. Majority of this would be a fiber to the home project. Areas where it would need just an extension from our existing facilities might be a coax. And so there may be some places in here that would be our existing coax facilities, like on Willie's Lake Road, where it's just between 2 portions of our plant. It really just needs a plant extension. It doesn't make sense to come back from our fiber and drive fiber all the way to get to maybe 5 homes down those areas. What we are looking for with the state broadband, we as Comcast, we are not able to go as a private ISP to the state broadband office in order to request grant, in order to apply for a grant process. We need to partner with a public entity, and that public entity is then the lead entity in that application process. What that means for the fire district is the fire district would be required to, or any lead applicant is the one that goes onto the portal once the application packet is put together and hits the apply button. Comcast is, and it will most likely be me, I will be putting together the application packet along with our business development group, making sure we've got all of our costs figured out, making sure there's administrative costs for the fire district included in that, so that the fire district is made whole in that application. But again, the fire district is the one that's required to hit send and then manage those funds once acting as a pass-through entity for those funds to Comcast. We are looking at potentially around $14 million that would be coming through as pass-through dollars for the construction of this front that we would probably be requesting from the state broadband office. We have this out for an updated costing right now with our engineers and our design teams to make sure that we got the most up-to-date costs. This was last costed about a year ago when I looked at it, and with everything inflation related and construction related, costs are escalating by the day. So we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date costs. One of the costs we will never know until we actually apply for permits is the PSE cost for their poles, to make those poles ready. We don't get to ask for those in advance, and we are stuck with whatever costs they come back with. So we're trying to anticipate based upon our knowledge of existing PSE plant costs here in Whatcom County, if we can extrapolate those costs on a kind of a per pole basis to make sure that we've got that package as tightly tuned cost-wise as we can. So I don't know if you have any questions on that. It's a lot. It's a big project. We know that there's a lot of customers here that are struggling to get services, and we hope to be able to provide that. What Comcast brings is not just our broadband services, but we would also be bringing our video services, our home security services, Xfinity Wireless, Xfinity Voice for the home, all of our business services, which would be available to small, medium businesses, enterprise services. All that would be available to any customer within this footprint.
Are there any other fire districts in Washington State doing this?
We are in discussions with, yesterday we had a conversation with Fire District 1 out of Stevens County. And last week, I believe it was, I met with Fire District 14 up in Acme or Kendall to talk about they've got a project that I've designed there for the Sumas rural, kind of between Sumas, Everson, and Linden. There's a big swath there of unserved. And then in Stevens County, we're looking at, there's a spot from Suncrest up to Tum Tum right along the Long Lake that we're talking with them about.
So just for, I mean, it sounds like it's is it a legal issue? Is it a financial issue? What has to drive this to quote pass through the fire district and not either allow you or Whatcom County or someone else to manage this?
So it's a state issue. So it's in legislation that came through when the capital budget designated about $300 million of federal ARPA dollars. So it's passing through the state. So it's passed through the state once. The state has passed it off through the capital budget to the state broadband office. Department of Commerce, well, in the enacting legislation budget, it was required that any partnership has to go through a public entity to partner with a private ISP. So that's conditioned at the state for that.
And what is the reason for that?
You'd have to ask the legislators. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we would have preferred that we could, as Comcast, we could apply directly to the state broadband office for this dollars.
Considered a conflict of interest, perhaps, to have a business dabbling in state allocated funds, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've seen plenty of opportunities where private companies have been able to access public grants for public benefit. So there are some members of the legislature that don't like private, like Comcast. I mean, we are one of the biggest ISPs in the United States. Us and Charter are two of the larger companies, and yeah. So there is some animosity within the majority down in Olympia towards Comcast and other companies like ours.
And why us and not the county?
So we did approach the county on this, and the county has made the decision between the county partnership with the PUD and the Port of Bellingham. They have made a decision to condition the dollars locally to say it needs to be a public or an open access network. We cannot get approval from corporate to build an open access network. What that means is the network, we would have to allow, say after 3 years or something, any other competitor to access the network to basically serve the customers that we have there. The biggest challenge with that is there's barely enough customers for the capital investment in order to pay for maintaining and operating the system. And when you start pulling off those customers to other competitors, it makes it less operational.
So I noticed that Ziply Fiber is busy all around my house in Blaine, and that. Where are we in relation to that?
I'm not exactly sure where Ziply is building. In the process for applying, we would have to send out letters to all the existing ISPs. So we would send out a letter to Wave, Lumen, Ziply, Pogo Zone, notifying us if there were a partnership, of the partnership and the fact that we're applying for this area for broadband funds, they would then be able to come in and challenge and say, hey, we have permits to build this certain area. They can challenge or say, they're already serving customers on this road, these addresses. We would then pull those addresses out so we're not duplicating the effort. And that's why when you look at this, originally this was everything basically from Guide Meridian to Blaine, but I had to pull out because the Port of Bellingham announced that they were building that area up on H Street Road from Guide Meridian over to, I think it's White Camp Road or so. And so I had to pull that out of our design because that's already considered it's in the process of being served by the county.
So that's the blue being planned county broadband.
Correct.
An area that they're already trying to.
Yeah, they received, I think it was either Community Economic Revitalization Board, CURB Board funds, or Public Works Board funds from the state in order to build those. I think they're still looking for a partner though too.
Wasn't that a couple of years ago when they did that though?
They just announced it this year, but again, I don't know if they have a partner yet for that. So no build is underway today.
The goal here, though, if I understand it, is to provide service to underserved areas and people in the community who can't access Wi-Fi or
Correct.
anything else. If they have children in school, they have to go to the library or park in a parking lot somewhere to do their business. So, Chief, I know that you may have some concerns about administrative staff time, which I think that you understand that we're understaffed as
Yep,
it is,
yep.
and it's not like we can add any other workload on to us. So, Chief, what's your take on this?
Well, yeah, when we first met with Mr. Buys, we did it in the office, so he was able to kind of see the chaos and the moving around and able to see some of the where the non-uniform staff is at, and we did talk about that, and he spoke about it here that there would that would be part of the grant, building the grant to provide for administrative staff, and that would be something that he and I, or maybe there's someone at Comcast that would help us figure out how much time it would take to actually administrate the funds and the reporting and the what am I trying to think of, the state audit part, portion of it, preparing for state audits and things like that, to figure out how much time it would take for a staff member to do that. That would really be my only administrative concern. Obviously, we probably want to get the two legal departments together to make sure that everything's good to go. But I just think this is a unique opportunity for kind of the future to catch up to that spot between Blaine and Linden, or I-5 and Linden, that's so underserved. One of the things when Chief Ward and I sat down and talked with Mr. Buys was we asked about for people that were not able to afford the Skookum high-speed internet package, would they provide subsidized internet? We wanted to make sure that this, and not just internet, but this could give them home phone capability. And being up so close to the border, we're able to, it's not infrequent for us to have 911 calls sent down from BC ambulance, which just further complicates the communication. So for people to be able to have reliable phone and internet, I think it would be great in that area. I know a lot of people have struggled with kids out of school for COVID or snow days or whatever. Remote learning is becoming much more of a thing. And I frankly think there's some potential for some good name recognition for us going into Comcast with this project. We certainly saw in the levees, people think they're served by the Custer Fire Department or the Delta Fire Department or the Linden Fire Department, and we can put ourselves, put our logo on something and have it mailed out, frankly, at Comcast's expense. And oh look, Comcast is partnering with with our fire department. So I think there's risks, but I think there's a lot of good things that can come from it too. And I just thought it was a unique opportunity and wanted Mr. Bice to be able to present to the board instead of trying to prep me to do it for him.
All right. Any questions from the board? What is the goal here today? Just for us to be aware of this, and then as things move forward, whether we enter into a contract or not, that would come in the future. So there's no requirement for us to take any action today. Is that
Correct. We're still, there's two main concerns that we're still waiting to find out where the state broadband office is going to land when they come out with this funding opportunity, and that's the open access requirement. There are some entities that are pushing for that to come at the state level. If that happens, then Comcast can't apply for any of these grants. Effectively, I mean, we can, but effectively we can't because we can't get corporate approval. And then there's been some questions from round one of their grant funding, which happened last year, about who owns the infrastructure. And a lot of the entities that went into it in round one kind of had the assumption that we do, that it's whoever builds it, that's their infrastructure. They just need to have ownership of the right of way, like the county, which the county does have ownership of the right of way for the next 25 years. So we just need to make sure that that ownership question is addressed, because most of these entities don't want to own a broadband network. And in our case, we would expect to own the broadband network in order to deploy our services.
all right? So just out of curiosity, a straw poll here, what do you folks think? Are you in favor of this? Not in favor of this? Is there anything that you could provide feedback to Mr. Bies that he can work on if you guys have concerns at this point?
No, I want to thank Vincent for giving the presentation, but I'd like to have a little more solid information of where we stand, at a later date, of course.
I think it's very interesting. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. And I agree with Chief. It could be something very beneficial. If you needed help to take it off the administrative staff, is it something one of us could do to take on to help get it off its feet? Or would it be a continual piece of the puzzle that we would need to be a part of?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never administered grant. I do have a request in, so we have two of these grants that we were awarded, one in Pierce County and one in Spokane County, where it was actually the county's ARPA dollars. So it has a lot of the same reporting requirements. So I'm talking with Spokane County, the lady who administers their ARPA dollar grant program, be like, what does a typical administrative oversight look like? Like, how many hours do you anticipate Spokane County is going to have for each of these grants to administer this? And then I'll have a little bit more information, but I think, it's going to be somebody who's doing the books typically, or we pay for an FTE or a partial FTE for a number of years. I'm not sure. I'll have to check back on what the federal reporting requirements are, if it's 3 years, 5 years, or if it's just to the end of the construction project, making sure that the funds were allocated properly. But I can get back to you on that.
Very helpful.
And let's say everything goes through and you get the funding and yada, yada, yada. How long does it take to build this thing out?
We anticipate, for one, the dollars I believe need to be utilized before the December 31st of 2025. We would be before that. It would be our goal. And a lot of that, again, depends on PSE. They have no timeline as far as there's no clock from when we apply for Make Ready, a costing letter, to when they have to get that back to us. And then there's going to be state permits. I think there's some railroad crossings in this. There's BPA permits that we'll have to get for going to the BPA lines a number of times out there. So some of that is what holds up our process. Procurement of fiber conduit, not usually a problem. Since we're one of the largest consumers of it, usually when we go to our customer or our suppliers, they're like, yes. We kind of get bumped to the top of the queue on those, which is great. But it's really going to come down to permitting. we are working at the state level with both the broadband office and the governor's office, looking at how we can streamline some of permitting to get these dollars out and deployed and get people connected faster. Because we do anticipate there's about another $1 billion coming to Washington State through the federal connectivity program. That was announced. We'll know in November what Washington's allocation of that is. There's about $45 billion from the infrastructure from the administration that's coming down. So we want to make sure that as we're seeing that $1 billion coming in, and Comcast isn't seeing that, the state is seeing that come to the state, but we want to make sure that that gets out and deployed as quickly as possible.
All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time to educate us today. Chief, any other questions, comments, concerns?
No, sir.
So
I'll keep in contact with Mr. Buys and we'll see how this thing goes and I'll keep you updated.
Okay. So with that, thank you for
All
your
right.
time.
Appreciate
Please
it.
Get out of here and you don't have to listen to the rest of the stuff unless anyone else has any other questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. All right, we will go back to, do we need to take a break here at this point? Anyone need a 5-minute break or we can keep going? Hearing and seeing none, we're gonna keep going. All right, back to our agenda. Approval of the consent agenda, which includes July 19 meeting minutes, staff reports, financials. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right. I will read in the financials. The direct deposit payroll, $415,188.48. Payroll taxes voucher, $98,209.80. Benefits voucher, $230,425.73. Monthly expenditure voucher, $145,735.08. Capital projects voucher, $17,974.28. Volunteer fund voucher, $6,513.75. Anyone have any questions? Chief, do you have anything you want to expound upon from your report before we have a vote?
No, other than I think we're going to hit everything else throughout the agenda. So I'm good. Thank you.
All right. All right. So, moved, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Commissioner meeting reports. Anyone have any meetings they attended? No? Yes?
I continue to check the Blaine City Council
Yeah.
and it hasn't come up.
Are you two coordinating at all, just in case?
Mm-mm.
If you need someone from the board at a council meeting for some project or reason or education, Kimberly is our contact. So if you see something come up, that would be nice to have one of us there. If you would reach out to her. And then perhaps you can reach out the other way and ask if
Absolutely. Yeah.
you're doing that same thing. That way, everybody gets to know who everybody is. The only thing I had going was another contract preparation meeting with the chief and retired Chief Ralston. I think we have a initial kickoff negotiations meeting on September 2nd. So again, I will state publicly that my goal is to get this thing done before the end of the year. We'll do everything within our power to make that happen. So, local report.
Yeah, a couple things going on. We have 5 new hirees. One is the lateral. He's currently getting training with B shift, and hopefully he'll be third on the crew here shortly. The 4 in North Bend, so they're actively in academy right now. We did pre-schedule overtime for September as voted on by the body. That's the third month now in a row of pre-scheduling just due to the openings. So it's approximately 100 openings next month. So we probably need to hire again and keep the hiring ball rolling. And then the other thing, just the contract kickoff meeting on the 2nd. So
I know that we're planning on January doing some more interviews, correct, Chief?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, we're trying to keep our head above the water. All right, unfinished business, District 4 annexation. Chief, where are we?
Just real quick, to expand on what I wrote in the chief's report, got approval from D4 board to take the Chief Hewitt and Chief Vanderveen show on the road. We're going to set up some community meetings in the District 4 area with a commissioner with us, because we feel that the conversation we're going to have with them is going to lead to you need to raise your levy rate type of discussion. And so we want to have an elected official there to A, hear it, and B, back us up. Basically,
you're talking a District 4 commissioner.
A District 4 commissioner, yes. Yep, you guys are off scot-free on this one. This is basically going to be a look. District 21, you can't afford District 21, and this is what Bellingham's going to cost. So we're going to try to lead them to the conclusion that, oh wow, we're going to have to do something either ourselves that's going to exclude us from the auto aid agreement, which is going to could have catastrophic consequences, or we're going to have to raise our levy rate very soon. So that's where we're at with that. Those meetings will probably start to happen in October, is when Chief Hewitt and I figured, and we're going to do at least 3, one kind of centered in each station's area, including one down off North Shore in the area of former Station 11, which should be interesting.
All right, so we talked about this a little bit, and I just want to ask the board's permission to draft a letter to the District 4 board, just reminding them that their contract expires the end of this year. I have not seen any communications from them regarding how they plan to continue to move forward and pay their bills. We have offered in the past to extend the contract sort of on a 6-month by 6-month time frame. My concern is if we don't say or do anything, it'll be June 30th, and we're going to be asking them what their plan is again. So if the board is okay, I would like to reach out to the D4 board and just basically say, hey, your contract is expiring the end of this year. We would kind of like to know what your plan is.
Reminders are helpful.
So
And
if no
put
one has any objection to that, I will work with Jenny to get something sent out.
I think it's a great idea. And maybe even a qualifier that you want to hear from by end of October.
Definitely.
Or after the chief show.
Or after the,
All right, we'll figure out a timeline that we'd like to see their plan. So you're thinking October is your show, and
Yes, sir.
if we give
Yeah,
them
to get it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say to get places figured out in a script. We want to get a good script and have that kind of nailed down before we go in there and not just shoot from the hip.
So would it be fair to say we would like to hear from them by November 1?
I think those will be accomplished, and they'll have plenty of feedback by then.
Okay. All right. You guys okay with that?
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Chief. We have Deputy Fire Marshal report, City of Blaine Development. And then we're talking about maybe a special meeting on September 10th with some of the, was that the attorney?
that's changed to September 7th. He's not able to do it the 10th. That's correct, right, Jenny?
Yeah.
Yep, September 7th at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I may not make that.
Here,
Okay,
here at the
so
station.
where?
We could do it here, or if it works better, we could actually do it online. Although it would be a commissioners meeting, so we probably have to do it here. Yeah, 61.
10 a.m.?
Yes. We could do 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. It'll take 45 minutes to an hour at the most.
Is everyone other than you?
Yeah, I'm up in here.
Get like Wi-Fi
Work
on the bus?
Work schedule, yeah. Might come down to that.
All right. Sir, what have you got for us?
So I've submitted the fire marshal report along with the chief's report that you guys should have a copy of. Just maybe talk about some of the items here. Public education, summer break right now, we haven't been going to the schools, but we are planning on starting the program up again, going to the classrooms and doing some, fire safety education with the kids. Now that COVID has lifted a lot of the restrictions. Also, October is Fire Safety Month, so we're planning on going to the school with the Fire Safety House and spending a few days there, having the kids come out, run through it, some more education for them. As far as developments, we've kind of shifted now from a lot of the pre-app, for the site plans for the developments. Now it's more doing plan inspections and plan review. A lot of construction going on right now. Some of the things that are still moving along is the horizons over Birch Bay. A lot of permits being issued out there, a lot of homes going in, as well as up here at the East Maple. If anybody's driven up through here recently, the townhomes, the 4-story or 3-story buildings, 4 units are in progress now. There's 3 of them that are now framed. It's really changing the hillside up there.
Yeah.
So still continuing to send out fire concurrency letters for collecting payments, of course, for each one of these, the permits that are coming out for the concurrency mitigation program.
Did we talk about the mitigation fee issue? Where were we with that? Was that set in stone, or we were gonna look at adjusting that? Do we know that?
We can. It's an update that we had started working on. I wanted to talk to Stacy Pratchner from the city because we'd also talked about, kind of at the last meeting, talked about extending out our capital facilities plan. Maybe that wasn't at this meeting. Maybe that was with Mr. Sitkin.
Right.
That's the one you'll get on the 7th. Sorry. Yeah, extending out our capital facilities plan for 2 years and then doing it in lockstep with the city. So we're using the same language. That's some of the things that Fire Marshal Nielsen has come up against, is that our definitions and the city's definitions, we're looking at 2 different books. We ran into it on townhomes, for instance. It's a great example. The city, for whatever reason, considers townhomes to be a single family home, living in each domicile, and because they're addressed separately, whereas we look at those as multifamily, which is kind of the definition of a townhome. You have one structure with multiple families living in it. So we have kind of stopped working on updating our costs because I wanted to see if that's related to the capital facilities plan, how that all ties in. So we're kind of waiting for Mr. Sitkin to do his thing with you. That will trigger whether we go full boat onto updating our prices and all those things like that, or do we hold off and wait and do it at the capital facility planning time?
So
Does
just,
any of that make sense? Sorry, I think I talked in
It's all
circle.
so what fees do a townhome pay or multifamily pay versus a single-family residence?
So it's single-family residence, which the way that we gather our information is with our reporting system. When we respond to a residence, if it's a single family, like a house or a duplex, that's in one category. So anything that is 3 or more in a complex where the buildings are all connected, we consider it to be multifamily. So a single family or duplex is $1,019 for a permit issuance, for impact fee, and multifamily residence is around $1,400. So it is a significant difference, and that's all based on how many times we respond to each one of those two different types, with a single family or multifamily, and that's how our prices are based.
So so if you have a townhome that is occupied by 3 separate families, we're getting about less than half of what it would cost if we had 3 separate houses, as
Yeah,
far
well,
as a mitigation
We
fee.
collect, like for a duplex, we collect that fee twice because there's 2 individual units there. that are
Okay.
being lived in. So the townhomes are 4 units, so we'd be collecting 4 times for that one structure.
All right. And at the $1,400
At the
number, so we're
yes.
collecting more than per
Yes,
house. Okay,
yes.
that was my,
So it is a significant difference in the amount we receive for those structures.
okay. All right. Anything else for us?
No.
Never ending development. All right, thank you. Do we need to do any prep work for that 7th meeting, Chief?
No, just bring your technical listening ears. That's it.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. Next item is the fire commissioner interview process. The applications closed yesterday, Jenny, and we have 3 applications. Is that correct? So we are going to need to schedule interviews. I believe that the bio information has been handed out to our panel. And the 2 of you and I believe Jenny is going to participate in the interview process. So are you guys just going to coordinate calendars, or what's the plan, thought?
That's where we're at, coordinating calendars.
And the goal to have a recommendation before our next meeting?
Could happen. We'll see. I'm gonna get a calendar today, so I'll have some hard,
You wanna look at mine?
hard dates. So does yours have the school calendar on there?
Sure. All right. As long as we're talking about dates, our next meeting is the 15th, but does that compress your workload down a little too much, like versus the 22nd? I mean, I'm looking at that. Does it matter for getting the financials and all that stuff out? Would it
That we'd have to talk to Benita and double check if the 22nd is too late.
too late, or, okay, I was just worried that the 15th is,
We've had them before on the 15th.
we're okay?
Yeah, we know it, yeah, but it's, once you start changing times or dates, then it,
So stick with 15th.
I think so.
Fair enough.
Don't stir the pot.
Yeah, I know. All right, WSRB is the next unfinished business. Anything updated?
No, not really. Nothing to update. It's still a work in progress. I've been kind of sidelined with some other projects.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? New business? We've managed our Comcast grant partnership presentation, and we have resolution 2022-08, the Whatcom County EMS levy support. Find it here. All right, so this is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Fire District 21 supporting the countywide emergency medical services EMS levy pursuant to RCW 84.52.069. Is there a motion to approve said resolution?
Chief, is this the same resolution everybody else has got in the county pretty much?
I can't speak for everybody else. I know it's the same one that District 4 approved. And this is very similar to, it's almost exactly similar to the one you all used in 2016 to support that levy. This has been through legal, and Mr. Davis gave it a thumbs up.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. You wanted to know if it was the same thing as before. Got that answered. My concern here, and I was trying to re-look at the way this thing is written, the resolve, basically says of not more than 29.5 cents. Well, my concern with that is the county has already tried to mess with that. All the committee work that was done, all the recommendations from the chiefs and commissioners was we need to start this thing at 29.5 cents. I just want to go on record saying that I am supporting this at 29.5 cents. Now I know that it's going to degrade over time because of property values, et cetera. And if there is a huge surplus and the county wants to lower it and still maintain the level of service that we're expecting to get for 29.5 cents, I'm okay with that. But I just kind of wanted to go on record that I don't want to say of not more than 29.5 cents, and then the county come back and said, yeah, you're okay with us doing it at 12 cents or whatever it is they decide. So
I think 19.9 was their.
right. Yeah. So that's my only concern with this. If we were to change it to say of 29 cents, I understand that doesn't necessarily go through for the whole term of the levy. So I guess rather than change the resolution, I just wanted to go on record saying, I hope our board is endorsing this to start at 29.5 cents and not be messed around with by the county, who is doing a heck of a job at trying to convince people not to vote for this, which is very, very disappointing.
Poor leadership by Whatcom County Council, my own opinion. I'll go on record.
Anyway, I don't know. I just, everything you read in the paper is like, well, we should be able to do it for less. And I think if I were a committee member and spent a year and a half working on this, to be told in 5 minutes that all the work that we did was in vain because someone has a personal agenda for something else, I agree. It's not a very good way to run a business. But anyway, that's my soapbox. I'll get off. Any other comments?
No, I said my piece.
Chief, are you comfortable with that? I mean, we kind of talked about changing the language in here, but my concern is if we change it, that means that we're endorsing it to be 29.5 cents every year, and I know it's not going to be.
That's true. Yep. As long as I guess I would like to go on the record and say that these levies are built because they know that the levy amount is going to degrade over time. So when they go into planning, at 29.5 cents, you need the excess in the first year to be able to survive into the sixth. And I think the last 2 years are a great example of why pre-planning is so important. Although we weren't the beneficiaries of it, the way the economy is run and kind of run away from everybody, if you plan to the penny every year, it's not going to work. You need to have some sort of surplus and some sort of rainy day fund. And I'm afraid that they're going to see a surplus in year one and dial it so far back that we will be very, very far behind in year 6 and possibly to the detriment of services. So that's
All right,
all I want to say.
all right. So my vote will be for the levy at 29.5 cents. Any other comments? Okay, it's been moved, seconded, discussed, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Apparatus,
This is only gonna be an update.
update.
Well,
There won't be
Speaking
action
of-
required.
All right, sorry.
speaking of the economy, I give you Chief Ward to talk about apparatus.
It's horrible. Right now, we are close to seeing a fire engine at $1 million. That's how scary things are. Bellingham bought an engine at the first of the year for $760,000, and with inflation, it's $866,000 right now to buy it. We've seen ours go from $755. The last quote we had was that we were going to see presented was $840,000. I anticipate it going up maybe $10,000, maybe $20,000 more for September's request for approval. I'm hoping it goes down, but I'm not anticipating it just because of the nature of the companies are no longer giving you a price that lasts you 6 months. They're giving you a price that lasts you less than a month. And they're quarterly adjusting their prices. And it's not just the Rev Group. Every manufacturer is doing the same thing. It's the supply chain is just killing them right now as far as getting materials. So
we don't have specs yet.
we have specs yet. The specs are all done.
Okay.
The revisions are in with Spartan or with Rev Group right now, with stuff that we've removed, and some minor modifications that we've found with the current engine that we'd like to see with because we use the new engine that we got as kind of our template.
Sure.
And that is going to be the template that we use from here on out, and make minor adjustments as we grow. And we've seen some needs for some minor adjustments on the next engine, and hope that the third engine after that is less adjustments, and it's basically just a stamp set of specs.
So we don't have a request to
No, sir.
go for a bid or go for a purchase.
I'll bring you the same documents that we had for the tenders showing a legitimate breakdown on pricing based on prepay, partial pay, and that. So I'll have that for next meeting.
Next meeting, okay.
We had hoped to have some solid numbers, but they're having a hard time getting us back to it. So we left it on the agenda just to give you a fair warning that the number you're going to see, or the number we're going to present to you, is significantly higher than the last engine we purchased. Yeah, we just wanted to give you all a heads up and keep you in the know about what costs are doing.
Fair enough, thank you. BLS reimbursement from Whatcom County. Chief.
The long talked about BLS reimbursement is finally, we're moving forward. We have there is a reimbursement contract in the correspondence section of your commissioner's packet. We've submitted to the county. It is expected that those will be approved in October. Once they want to collect them all and pass them all at one time. So for Fire District 21, that reimbursement would be, bring that page up here.
697,000.
Yeah, $697,958 and some change. And that is the one-time distribution of $5 million from the savings account from the EMS levy, split basically using the same formula as the GEMT formula between all the counties, or all the fire districts in the county. on the page, when you look at the application for reimbursement, essentially, you'll see on there the justification is for another ambulance, or the justification for what we'd use the money for. Another ambulance, training, and ballistic gear as far for firefighter protection and firefighter safety. Our crews are just going on more sketchy calls. Things are getting weirder. And also to help subsidize some fuel costs that increased fuel costs that we've all experienced this year. So that's the District 21 justification for needing these funds.
And do we have an expectation of when we could potentially see this money?
We're hoping October, once they're voted on by the county, and once it's approved by county finance, they should turn around and cut us a check. So it's the financial committee's got to approve it all.
And the stretcher load system, did we get paid for that, or is that?
That is a separate item that they are currently, the city of Bellingham and the county are the ones that actually built the document you're looking at, or the BLS reallocation agreement you're looking at, and they are currently building that same agreement or same style of agreement for the stretcher. And that would be Chief Ward. What would that number, that reimbursement for us is going to be significant? What is it? I can't remember.
It's going to be in the $70,000, close to $70,000 mark.
Okay.
That was 120.
Well, I think that, I think you are right. You're right. That was just for the gurneys, and then the power loads will take it.
Yep, they'll pay. So they bought the gurneys. This is going to pay for all the power loads that went into all 5 ambulances. So, or 4 ambulances with one plus the new one. So, yeah. So this will be.
Sorry, Chief. They'll also reimburse the maintenance contracts that we already have with them, because the county has a full contract with maintenance on all the gurneys and load systems.
So are the new units spec'd with that load system in them in the future?
Yes. Yep.
They'll be prepped for it, and the county will provide the unit.
Okay. All right. Any other new business? Correspondence was the contract that we signed, right, and sent out. Is that kind of the same topic?
Same thing.
All right. And then next meeting is on September 15th. Is everyone able to attend that except John?
No, I'll be good for that.
Oh, you are? It's the 7th that we want, right?
I'm good for the 15th. I'm not sure about the 7th.
Okay. Can you do that on Zoom?
I'll have to let you know.
Okay. All right, September 15th, 11 a.m. here. Yes? You're good? All right. Agenda items for next meeting. We'll have the D4 for your review. Are we going to need another report from you next month, or is there anything like really happening crazy that you think we need to be updated on?
I'll be attending and just update you as needed.
Okay. We should have a recommendation for a new commissioner, hopefully. Leave WSRB on there.
Sure.
All right. Comcast, do we want to just table that until?
I'll add it as needed in the future.
We'll drop that one. Apparatus, we should have something on the new engine. And I guess we can just see if we ever get our money from Whatcom County. I don't know that we need to keep that on the agenda. I guess we'll see in our budget income. Can you have Benita put a big gold star by it on the vouchers when it comes in so we can see it.
I've asked for it to come in a big check like at a golf tournament.
That would be awesome. All right. Anything else? Chief, comments, questions?
No, sir. Thank you for letting me attend remotely.
Thank you for attending. Hope all is going well in Iowa.
Yeah, it's we've gone through some tissues, but we're good.
All right. If there's no other business, I'll go ahead and move to adjourn the meeting at 12:50 p.m. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting's adjourned. Signed documents. Oh, you got Rich Bosby's laptop back too, right?